Welcome to my Agora. Today's lesson, one of many, is defensive driving. Automobiles lavish our lives. Being able to make it from point A to point B safely should be imperative. Making it from point A to point B without having to pay out-of-pocket expenses for someone else's car or medical bills should be imperative. Whether it's going to work, school, delivering goods, or even people. This course will supplement your knowledge and awareness out on the road. Let's begin. Course overview. This entire lecture is split up into 3 sections: the red zone, the yellow zone, and the green zone. The red zone, introduction, and what I like to call the no shits. The yellow zone is all the good stuff. It's going to be the breadth of this course. There's going to be videos. It's going to be fun, right? Lastly, end it off with the green zone, some expert tips, bonus stuff, and finally the outro. Let's get right into it. I was a DoorDash driver for about 3 years. I drove for GLS, worst fucking delivery company ever, for about a year. I have been in a few accidents. One was my fault. I live in San Luis Obispo County, which requires a ton of driving to get anywhere you need to go. I also lived in Los Angeles the beginning half of my life, so I have a dynamic view of what it's like driving in the city as well as on the Central Coast. I've driven a lot, right? I still do drive a lot. Anytime I ever noticed something that I knew I needed to remember due to safety, I would literally pull over to write down what that was. It's exactly how I created this entire course. I knew I was going to be confronted with the situation over and over again. I call these special case scenarios. A good driver studies these things in order to make it out of the concrete jungle alive. Some opening thoughts. All it takes is a split second, man, to kill somebody, for you to be killed, just to ruin your whole fucking day. That's all it takes, is a split second. I created something I like to call the 17th time rule, all right? Sometimes it takes hearing the 5th, 10th, 17th time in order for you to retain something in your mind forever, all right? The severity of the importance, the tone of the voice, the volume is what ingrains it in your head forever. Because if you've heard it that many times, you better fucking know it, all right? If you can't remember it then, you might need to start using flashcards, which is a proven method, by the way. Moving on. Why is this course powerful? It's not your typical defensive driving course. Yes, it's about an hour long, but I'm going to do my best to not make this feel like some course you're required to take by the state or your work or something. It's only going to be the essentials. I'm going to leave out all the mundane stuff. However, we are going to briefly brush over some of this stuff because I feel like it's not necessary to leave it out. The breadth of this course will majorly focus on special case scenarios, unique situations. Why is this course free? Well, I shouldn't have to make you pay for something that makes me and my family safer out on the road. Some of us have kids, and let's be honest, it can be fucking terrifying out there. Trying to trust that everybody is making the best decision behind the wheel. Not texting while driving, putting on their fucking makeup, driving drunk or high. You can't control everybody. You can only control yourself. I can fucking hardly control myself. All right, hence why this is a defensive driving course. As I said before, I'm going to briefly discuss the mundane stuff we should all practice as common sense. I call them the no shits. Let's knock them out. It can be easy to only keep your eyes on the road, right? Sometimes it's quite difficult to keep track of every single sign you see because you have to pay attention to these crazy ass people on the highway in LA or driving in the mountains, managing your caution for deer jumping out in the road, on top of analyzing the signs that you're passing. So keep an eye out, especially for work ahead signs or one ways or do not enters. It's a really important tip. Always check the left turn yield signs on green lights. We need to pay more attention to these because they put these in a way that tethers the amount of traffic going through these lights. It might be a big intersection in the city, it may be out in the Goonies, but that highway is always hot with Ricky Bobby's just fucking driving through, right? You got to pay attention because even though it says green, the other cars coming from the opposite direction have the right of way and they're not going to stop. There could be a long curve of the road ahead and you can't even see them coming and they're fucking cruising at like 50 to 60 miles per hour. You got to be careful, man. Just keep an eye out for them. And also, sometimes there isn't a sign when there probably should be. Sometimes these surveyors or whoever's in charge of placing these signs, I know they clearly fucking missed one because I believe there should be one here because it's really uncomfortable turning on this fucking light, right? You know, we're all human. Nobody's perfect. They're probably not going to fucking change it. I bet if I fucking petitioned it to the city, they probably would, but, you know, that's just the way it is. Potholes. You really got to be careful for these because they can cause you to swerve and crash if they're big enough. I heard they're like really terrible in certain states. California, they got Caltrans taking pretty good care of the highways in my area, at least. You know, this stuff, it makes you look distracted too while you're trying to dodge it. You know, cops, if they're in your vicinity and you're fucking dodging all these potholes, just be mindful. They might think you're drunk or something. So always keep your eyes ahead and behind you. I was required to take this defensive driving class by my work, and they mentioned something that at first I was like, this is fucking crazy. I'm not going to do that. They were like, you need to look up at the rear view mirror every 10 seconds. And I was like, what? I'm not going to fucking do that shit. But I really started thinking about it and started to do it, and I feel a lot safer. You know, it's not like we have to fucking ride horses every day and walk 30,000 miles across the desert like Jesus. Fucking just all it takes is an ounce of energy. Just lift your eyeball muscles up and look at your rear view mirror. And, you know, every 30 seconds at least. They break, you break, motherfucker. You know, it's common sense. They teach you this in the DMV. Always keep 2 to 3 car lengths of space in between you and the other vehicle. Even though this is clearly not common sense, I see nearly 80% of the people on the fucking road tailgating each other, especially in heavy traffic. I don't care if I'm creating a huge gap and letting people pass me. Unless I need to be somewhere, I usually just decrease that gap a little bit. I have a rear license plate on both my cars that tell people to back the fuck up. It says, if you can read this, back off. My Prius plate holder says, give me space. And it has like all these planets around it and shit, like outer space. It's much better to have something like that to keep you safer than Cal Poly alumni. In case y'all are wondering, went to Cal Poly. No one gives a fuck. Mundane. Wear your seatbelt. It's an embarrassing way to die. Just imagine your family like walking up to a crime scene. You destroyed some old lady's tree in the front of her fucking house and you flew through the windshield. Your legs are like hanging over your head. Like, just wear your fucking seatbelt, right? It's not the best way to die. Hooray! We're done with the red zone. On to the good stuff. You can't read people's minds, right? Keep a good awareness of the motion of people's vehicles. Do not rely on their blinker. I know I forget to put on sometimes. We're all human. Just adapt to the environment. This one should be in the no shits, but unfortunately, I know it's a decision that plagues us all. I'm guilty of it as well. We don't realize how detrimental the consequences can be if we don't have a proper phone mount. I made a little video to show you exactly what I mean, so check it out. You want your phone mount to be up here, right, in the upper portion of your dashboard. You don't want it down here. You don't want it below your wheel. It has to be in the upper area of your vision while you're driving, because you can be checking this with your maps and everything, and you'll still be able to see the road and anything coming with your peripheral vision. So I highly suggest you keep it in the upper portion of your dashboard, especially if it could be mounted on the glass right there. It's even better. But honestly, that kind of gets more in the way of your visibility than right here because still the top of the phone is like right there, as opposed to cutting off this whole area of your window. So, yeah. If you DoorDash or Uber, not much you could do. You need the right phone mount. You're gonna constantly have to look at your phone. So, pull over for tailgaters. This applies to both highways and neighborhoods. If there is a turnout lane or somewhere you can pull over, just fucking do it, man. Don't brake check them. Don't let them pass and then start tailgating them to get back at them. You're inviting yourself a shitty day. Just grow the fuck up. Don't do that shit to me. I will fucking make you pay for it by being nice and pulling over. Why the fuck did I say that? Okay. This next section is going to be back-to-back tutorials. So sit back, relax, and take fucking notes. Before we get started, be aware that throughout this entire course, you are always going to be the red car. The third party will be the gray car. This first lesson is based in any city or neighborhood, and we are going to be discussing whether or not you should immediately change lanes after making a turn. But let's start on this side of the road and you're making a right turn. The reason why I would hesitate to change lanes immediately is because they haven't really acknowledged that we are on the road yet. They could be slowing down to pull over, change lanes, make a left turn, right turn. You need to give them space to think. You need to give yourself space to think. Space is time. Remember that. It doesn't matter if they're on this side of the road either. It's the same exact thing. Give them space. If they're coming from the opposite direction, it's even worse. So I would recommend don't even turn on the road until they've passed. Let's be honest. A lot of us compensate for how fast they're going. We decide to just go even faster and let them catch up to us. It's just not the best thing to do. Just let them pass. That's that. And when you make your turn, give yourself some time, give the other person some time to acknowledge you're there, and then change lanes. Next lesson, really simple. Please be careful when deciding to speed through yellow lights, all right? I did color it in yellow right there. I don't know if you can see it, but I did have a situation the other day where I was deciding whether or not to run it. And I'm so glad I did not, because when I screeched my brakes and I landed on that red, lo and behold, there was a cop there, and he took off hella fast after it turned red. And, if I would have not timed it right, boom, I would have clipped him. That would have been a terrible day for me. I probably wouldn't be here making this video, but yeah, you really need to time it correctly. Best advice, just don't do it. Obviously, if you're in the middle of nowhere, you don't see any cars, just go for it. But yeah, and if there's a cop right there and you decide you can make it, he could just decide to make you turn and tail you just for, acting like that. So just be careful. And yeah. Next lesson is about how fast you should be taking off from parked positions, particularly around the corners of busy roads. So, we all have these streets in our home neighborhoods or cities that we know are way busier than usual, even if it isn't a main road. We can't always expect these cars to be driving as smoothly as we like them to. They're probably going to be making these turns as hastily as they're driving on the main road. So, what I like to do is compensate for this by taking off a little bit faster. Especially if our view is obstructed by control panels, trees, other parked cars. Obviously, pay attention to where you're driving. Don't take off super fast, but compensate for it. Again, remember you're the red car in all these scenarios. This lesson is going to be about your decision to make that really risky turn that I know we all do whenever we have a car coming from the opposite direction. And we decide, I'm just going to chafe the borderline of their bumper as they're driving, because they're going pretty fast or whatever. It's best to just not do that. Just let them pass, stop, then make your turn. You don't know what they're about to do, as I keep explaining. You don't know what's in people's minds. You don't know if they're about to slow down really fast to drop somebody off to stop at the side of the road, or they just realize that their address is like right here where they're trying to go. and boom, they clip them right there. So just really be mindful of that. This next lesson is about demanding your presence, all right? Specifically to do with situations where we see cars coming up on these corners, they're encroaching this turn way too fast. You know, we're driving at a moderate speed and boom, we just see them pop up. They're obviously about to turn like right after you pass. What I like to do is demand my presence, all right? So I'm driving, they approach up, I slow down. I immediately start to slow down because I want them to acknowledge that I'm there. I don't want them to be making those hasty decisions, all right? They need to slow the fuck down, all right? I don't like feeling like nervous about situations. So in a lot of different scenarios, I will, make people acknowledge that I'm in their perimeter. I'm not gonna fucking just speed up even faster because I see them approaching really fast. Like, oh, I need to make room for them. No, that's not how I think. And we're not in the fucking Daytona 500, so be careful, right? We got kids in the car, got places to be, we got to get there alive. All right, next lesson. This one's unique to those who live in the hills or rural areas. If you live in the city, it may not be extremely relevant, but we all go on vacations, we all go on work trips, and we end up in these types of environments that we're not used to. This is specifically about this road that I used to have to drive to and from home when I used to live at Heritage Ranch in Central California, out in the Goonies, all right? This is G14 right here. Really, really sketchy road. Someone died on this highway every single year. My ex-girlfriend flipped her car from black ice on this road. I used to work with somebody who was in a car accident with 5 other people, and 2 of them died. And my new coworker is related to somebody who got into an accident and someone died. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, this turn right here, I just remember, so sketchy. This is San Marcos Road. This is G14. You really have to prepare for these quick turns on these long highways in the hills because they're not designed to really make people aware that, these turns are even here. So it's not that the government didn't put the signs. It's just people are, we're in the mountains, we're driving fast, we're not really paying attention or caring about those types of things. So I'll be driving, and I always had to remember I had to prepare for this turn. I had to make sure the person behind me was really well aware that I was about to make this turn. So I had my blinker on 5 minutes ahead of the turn. I slowed down like 5 minutes ahead of the turn. And so he was just well aware that I'm about to turn, because if I didn't, he would be riding like right here or even right here, like right here, like not even that close. They're driving so fast. If I don't have that turn prepared, boom, it's gonna clip me. So yeah, these are really specific to these unique areas we live in. You really have to know them like the back of your hand. So take notes. Don't tailgate people, specifically in the hills. Okay. Animals are 200% more likely to jump out in the mountains than in some fucking neighborhood, right? And if that person has to come to a sudden stop, you're going to pay for it. So don't do it. Also, it's wise to remain aware of these Lance Armstrong motherfuckers that don't give a fuck that there isn't even a bike lane. The sign says, share the road. And we're not going to act like these people are curving these roads at 45 miles per hour in their vehicles. And we're just all supposed to remain acutely aware that there could be these bikers. Why they can't find a mountain trail with a fucking bike lane, I don't fucking know, man. All I know is I fucking hate people. Fuck. Okay. Another set of videos here. These are all going to be general types of roads as well as highways and freeways. Quick and easy. This is a tip for those who are having a hard time staying straight on the road in the hills, city, or neighborhood, especially in areas that you're not familiar with. You don't know how well this road's been paved along the way. You're having a hard time seeing the center divided line. It's just been ran over too many times. You're starting to swerve a little bit. It could be foggy and it's shitty painted. Both those things, terrible mix. So what I like to do is focus on the outer border of the road. They always have those little tiny hubcap looking things that light up with your headlights. So I like to focus on those, right? Especially when you have a certain person behind you, right? Regardless if you're sober or not, it's a good tip. And we're going to be talking about drinking and driving at the end of this course. not going to get into it right now, but yeah, you know, this cop may just be looking for this tiniest infraction to get on you. So if you're swerving, if you're giving him a reason to pull you over just because you're just having a fucking hard time and you're sober, you need to focus on this outer line, right? So yeah. Now we shall discuss freeway scenarios. This lesson is specifically about changing lanes on the freeway. Now, as I've said before in this presentation, I'm not going to be giving you the mundane stuff because this course is about personalized advice from situations that I've personally experienced, right? So we're not going to be talking about cars directly to the left or to the right of you and changing lanes because logically, both of you guys should be able to see each other pretty clearly. So it's a given that if you have your blinker on, they should be paying well attention to what you're doing. Obviously, don't assume that, but make sure you have enough space, change lanes, all right? This lesson is about when a car is 2 lanes to the left or to the right of you, and you're deciding to change lanes, because this is something that we're not really all thinking about. You can't really see them very well, so if you're deciding to change lanes right when they're deciding to change lanes, both you guys can't really see each other very well on a freeway that has more than 3 or 4 lanes. So something to keep mind of. I've experienced this a lot in LA, and I get really sketched out changing lanes in Los Angeles because there's just so many cars, and the fucking highway, the freeway has like 5-6 lanes, so many different exits, so much shit going on. So really be careful with that. All right. This next freeway lesson is about 2 things. 1, your decision to change lanes after there's any off-ramp on a freeway, and what this person is going to be deciding to do. Let's go through the scenario and I'll explain what I mean. So, let's say you're driving and this car decides to take their exit. Oh wait, never mind, that's not their exit. Oh, we all do that. We all drive over that fucking lined part of the fucking off-ramp, and it's sketchy as hell. All right, I'm never going to do it anymore because I've realized that if you're this person and you decide that you need to change lanes right after that off-ramp, it looks clear to you because they're making their exit. If they decide to change their mind, boom. It happens a lot, all right? And I've done it. I know a lot of people do it. It's sketchy as fuck. So don't do what both of these people are doing. Don't make that, sudden change. If you made the wrong exit, just take the exit. Get back on the freeway, take the time. It's not worth your fucking life, all right? And this person, just wait to change lanes for a couple minutes after the off-ramp, or just, a couple 100 yards. Make sure that space is clear, all right? Yeah. Last video. All right. This one, I hope you have the common sense to do it, but honestly, there are also some shittily designed freeways. I'm not sure what the laws are where they, even allowed there to be such a minimal amount of pull-off space on freeways or some highways. But, it is the way it is. They're not going to just fucking redesign every fucking highway ever created. But my advice to you would be to only pull off in those areas of highways that have, more than 2 or 3 car lengths of space, all right? You don't want to be just sitting on the fucking edge of a freeway or highway. It's really not a good idea. If you're opening your car door, there's a fucking big-ass big rig, boom, it's just stupid, all right? Make sure you have a lot of space if you need to pull off in the highway or freeway, specifically on highways, because there's always kind of like a jagged amount of areas. Like they're not always the same distance between the road and a fucking wall or a bush or whatever. Give yourself that amount of space to be safe. I also saw these little like light up LEDs that people put on the edge of their car doors when they're parked on the side of the road to let people be aware that they're working on their car or something. That's pretty cool. I might get some of those, but yeah. All right. Don't take off too fast. All right. Why? Well, I will tell you why. Normal people like to jaywalk. Disabled people jaywalk. Homeless people like to jaywalk. Disabled homeless people like to jaywalk. Elderly people like to jaywalk. Disabled elderly people like to jaywalk. And last but not least, kids do what the fuck they want. They run on the road, they jaywalk. Just watch out, man. Don't ruin your life. The po-po. Okay. It's good to know that sheriffs are actually not responsible for pulling you over on the highway or in the city. City cops are supposed to do that. Sheriffs, they respond to higher level crimes like domestic violence disputes, robberies, and shit like that. I mean, city cops will assist them if they need to, but just know, like, when you're driving around, it might ease you a little bit if you see a sheriff on the highway. They're not really looking to get you, unless you do something really idiotic, obviously. But another tip I learned from somebody in the Army that was teaching a class. They were an ex-cop, and they were explaining that in some of these vehicles, like the high-tech ones, they have these little transmitters that are able to like pick up vehicles as they're coming, even around corners. Like they can hear you coming. It's like a little zzz. It gets louder or higher pitched the faster you drive, and just be aware. It's the kind of stuff they have. Also, if you have a license plate that is just like, the dealership, it doesn't actually have your number on there, and you're trying to avoid being detected for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not like fucking endorsing criminals here, but it's better to park in a spot where your number is hidden, because cops, they have these scanners on the sides of their vehicles. And if they're driving through a parking lot and they see all these exposed license plates, they're scanning all those license plates as they're slowly driving through. They do have that technology. One of my supervisors was an ex-chief of police, and he explained that to me. So also good to be aware that, most cops are SUVs nowadays. Yeah, they do have like the fucking Camaros and shit, or Mustangs. But just to be more aware and keep you more at ease, if it's an SUV, it's more than likely you're going to be a cop as opposed to a fucking van or some shit. I don't fucking know. They also have elevated headlights since they're SUVs, and bright ass LEDs, so you can always keep mindful of that. And they have the extra little flashlight hanging out the side of the driver's window that they control. Look for the cage in your rear view mirror, as you can see it through their windshield. Just things that you can keep mind of when you're looking at someone behind you at night on the freeway and you're like freaking out, like, is that a cop or not? Those are some things to look out for. Hooray, we're like 75% done. Okay, expert tips, bonuses, and finally we'll get to the outro. This is all the really good stuff. My favorite stuff is in this area, so take notes. Riptides. I created this idea. I've told many people about it. Every time I'm explaining it to them, they shut up and listen. This is very important. Relate this to an actual riptide in the ocean, as you see in the image. Everything else is calm surrounding it, but then, fucker will just take you away. It's ruin your life. All right. Riptides are very, very unique areas in places that you live that you need to be aware of. There's a million signs. People talk about these areas, but you need to know these areas. They're not going to be immediately brought to your attention. They could kill you, right? I mean, just simple as that. They're intersections, they're areas and parking lots, they're all over the place, and you need to know where they are. Some examples, there's this Panda Express parking lot where I live, and it's just wide enough that, it allows people to drive a little bit faster than normal because it's so wide. They assume people that are backing out can clearly see them. But as you can see, these cars right here, they're blocking my view. If I'm pulling into this with the nose of my car, I cannot easily see when I'm backing out. My view is obstructed. So people are fucking hauling ass, and I don't know why they shouldn't be, but I just know in this specific parking lot by Panda Express, they do that, and I've had close calls. These are riptides, right? These are areas that I know are dangerous, and they're more dangerous in intersections, like in areas that are cut off and you can't see these cars that are hauling ass. Even though you do have the right of way to turn, just because they allowed it. They didn't even put a fucking sign. Like I literally saw a huge accident the other day in this one area that I've always been nauseous at when I turn because I can't fucking really see, and it's a big ass highway. And I'm like, all right, I'll take my right turn. But then boom, that motherfucker, oh my God, it was so loud when they slapped each other's fucking bumpers. It was so fucking loud. And thank God they're okay. But um, yeah, you got to be careful with these. Also, be careful with kids that are walking through these parking lots and you're backing out. That's why it's always best to back into your parking space because kids are small. And if you're driving a truck or you have a high lifted SUV, you can't see them immediately. Their fucking mom's not paying attention. They're running right behind your fucking car. You're trying to back up. You don't have a backup camera. You know, you got to be careful with that big time. This is a unique one. Pay attention to people's rims when they're encroaching corners really fast, like I discussed earlier. You know, if their car is blended into the background of where they're driving at, you know, you can't really tell how fast they're accelerating. So what I like to do is look at their rims because you can tell how fast they're accelerating by seeing that rim spin. So an example is, you know, a black car at night. They're coming on this corner. This is during the daytime, but you can more easily tell when they're taking off by looking at their rims. Park against islands. You know, you might as well just play it safe. If you deal with people backing into you or slamming their car door into your car, you might have to take a little extra trek to get to Walmart, but you know, it's worth it. Like I said before, back into your parking spaces. It's just so much better. I always forget to do it. It takes a little extra time, but a stitch in time saves 9. This is a really important one. Be respectful to emergency responders, man. Turn down your music. Don't be freaking being a jackass and not even pulling over for them or barely pulling over. You know, these people, they save lives. They freaking make sure our society doesn't burn down. So pay respects. This is second most important in this section. Be careful in unknown territory, right? Riptides go hand in hand with this because it takes years to learn all the riptides in your own city. I live in Paso Robles. It's taken me 5 years, even with door dashing, to know every single street and the typical behavior of drivers on that street. So be really careful. You know, there's people that are just driving way too fast, or people are biking on a bike lane that's like 1 foot wide, or homeless people are fucking dangerously going across this bridge on the side of the road and you can't even see them because the fucking road's so steep. You know, the list goes on. This is a really important one because when you're somewhere brand new, there are hundreds, thousands of these areas that you're just not aware of because you don't live there. You're not used to it. So be really careful in unknown territory. The reason rain thickness matters is because you're driving on concrete, okay? Rain, it takes a certain amount of time to soak into that concrete. And when they say there's 3 inches of rain, there's 2 inches of rain, you know, just think of that as a time and measurement to how much slower you need to drive because it takes that much longer for water to soak into the ground the more rain there is. So it's going to be more slippery when you drive. Really important. Here's a little chart to kind of show you the numbers and, you know, how they measure it, like decimal format. Some bonus tips. Deer whistles. These are huge. I have like a 10 pack of these. Every person I talk to these about, they've never even heard of them, and it blows my mind. They're at Walmart. They're fucking anywhere. All right. What you're going to want to do is Gorilla Glue them to your car and then put a piece of duct tape over the top to even further secure it because those 3M adhesive strips are not going to hold it down with how fast you're driving. These will save your fucking life. They'll save a deer's life. You know, it's just a cruel way to fucking kill deer. You know, if you're leaving them on the side of the road just suffering because their fucking head is like halfway crushed and shit, You know, I'm not against hunting. It's probably better for them to die that way because it's more instant. Get these deer whistles because these will warn them when you're coming. If you're driving more than 30 miles per hour, it sends off like a 60 hertz symbol or 60 hertz frequency, something like that. It warns them that you're coming, and it works, dude. It really does work. I've never had an issue with deer coming in front of my car with these on my car. Put 4 of them on there. I don't fucking know. Until the day you come across a deaf deer, I don't fucking know. Get a bright thing on your keychain. It's just an extra one. It helps you find your keys in the dark more. Like you're looking for your keys in your car and you're like, where the fuck are they? This is like a little pouch I have, an orange pouch. Put my retainers in there sometimes. Really helpful. Blindspot mirrors that attach on with adhesive. The adhesive is usually pretty good. You don't have to glue them on or anything. If your car doesn't already have these installed in your mirrors, you might as well get these. I highly recommend you get those. I want to elaborate a little bit more on blind spots. We all know what they are, but we really should be aware of the different types of blind spots that other people experience with other types of vehicles, like the one shown. The really important ones are the big rigs. They have the biggest, and you know, just kind of ingrain this in your mind as like a fucking work van, truck, whatever. They're all sort of the same, but the big rigs is a big difference. You got to be careful with these. And here's a little fun video for you.
Always lock your door at the gas station.
So this lady is trying to steal my car right now.
I'm not stealing your car. My handle's on the fucking thing. Backwards. There's no kids in here. You've been set up, dude. I just set you up. Do not let them set you up.
California.
You're glad I'm in here because I'm just, you're not. I'm the truth. You're not. You're bad. You're a bad man. That's what they want you to look like.
I'm sorry.
I'm not setting you up. They are.
Everyone has a story. I'm sorry that
you are going to go down
this,
for me. I mean, I'm not going to go down. I'm working for them. All right. I'm not going down for nothing.
You can just walk away, man. You don't have to get in trouble. Just go.
I'm tired of this shit.
At least my seat's warm now.
That was me. I'm telling you, man, I've seen a lot of shit. That last one is true. Lock your door at the gas station. Motherfuckers are doing recon on you all the time, everywhere you go. We got a few more slides here and then set you off on your way to be the most glorious driver the world has ever seen. Oh, so sad. We're going to be parting ways here, but I just want to close it off with a few thoughts. Do not trust anybody. I don't care if your mom is right behind you and she's driving, following you to the fucking store. I don't care if you know all the Riptides in the whole city. People are unpredictable, man. You could die out there. I'm not joking. You could kill somebody else. Ruin your whole fucking day. Someone just got 6 hours of sleep. That's all it takes. Trust your gut. There are scientific studies that link the lining of your gut to your nervous system. So there is a huge sacred truth to trusting your gut instinct. So many situations in my life, if I would have done that, I'd be in a lot better place. Motherfuckers get really brave behind the wheel, right? Whenever human beings have something to hide behind, social media, borders, cars, people get brave because they know they can just speed off and go home. They'll never see you again, right? Just be aware. Don't trust anybody, man or woman. And last but not least, the golden rule. I have had a DUI and it's the worst experience you can ever imagine. The time, the energy, fucking money it takes to get the shit behind you. I cannot stress to you enough how important it is to just get an Uber, find a DD. It's not worth it, man. You're so privileged in today's society. You can fucking Google anything and learn how to fix your fucking alternator in your car or watching a YouTube video, and you have all this shit at your disposal. The least you can do is not milk it. Don't fucking take advantage of your privilege to drive a car by fucking driving under the influence. All right. A lot of people do it. People admitted to me after I had my deal, like, oh man, it sucks. I do this shit all the time. I've never been caught, blah, blah. It's not funny. Don't do it. You can kill somebody. You can kill a whole family of people. You can ruin your whole life. All right. Luckily, mine was extremely minor. I mean, I didn't crash anybody, but yeah, the cop just followed me straight out of the parking lot of the bar. I stupidly parked in the fucking parking lot because I was with this chick and she told me to park there. Stupid as fuck. But yeah, I won't even get in the car if I'm slightly buzzed anymore. I don't even drink. I drink O'Doul's now. But yeah, don't drink and drive, right? Stare at that for like the next 30 minutes and then come back. Hooray, we're done. The course is completed. Some cute images here. I have one last tip for you. Are you ready? Here we go. Oh, there it is again. Don't fucking do it. I want you to read every single one of these fucking tips over and over again. You know, study how many letters are in the sentence. There's three words. No, 4 words. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink and drive. Just fucking don't do it. Don't do it. Don't smoke weed and drive. Don't drink and drive. Oh yeah, and don't drink and drive. Okay, I'm done. Some references. I didn't even look at any of these references, but they're supposedly really important. My course is the best. I'm probably gonna make another one. Some more notes I've been taking. Hope you guys enjoyed this. And until next time, this is Cloak and Dagger. So fucking cheesy. I'm gonna start making a lot of courses here. Quality of life courses, sobriety courses, how to make music, etc., how to write. This is fun, so I'll keep this up for you guys. But remember, okay, bye.